All of that was done automatically, so I just have a quick warning before you put any kind of manual effort into the model. If you plan on exporting your waifu at the end of all this, then you should really check that the export tools are working right now. So save a new file, then go and skip ahead to the last part and it'll show you how to do it. And if you're planning on using the model inside of Blender, well, you can just disregard this warning. Okay? Okay. The plugin should have just set the colors for you. These are the light colors. The plugin also automatically creates dark colors. You can check how well it did by going into rendered view. This is your starting point for dark colors. If you want to try out the different options, you can choose what you want and run the script again. These options only affect the dark colors. And if you don't like any of the dark color options, then just hold that thought for now, because we're going to get back to it later. I also recommend packing the external images into the blend file, and then literally closing out of Blender so all your images are saved properly. Okay, now onto the fun stuff. This is the armature. Everything is separated into armature layers that can be accessed in the Object Data tab. It might change in the future, but currently Layer 1 has all the main bones, Layer 2 has the bones not used when IKs are active, Layer 3 has the CFS bones used in the character creator, Layer 4 has the CFD bones used for joint corrections, Layer 5 contains bones used by the better penetration armature, so if you had that body type selected in Koikatsu, this is where the bones for the toes and stuff will be. Layer 17 has the upper face bones, Layer 18 has the lower face bones, Layer 9 has the skirt bones, Layer 10 has the accessory bones that have weight to them, Layer 11 has all the intermediate bones that don't have weight to them, aka the useless bones. Layer 12 has the CF hit bones, and Layer 13 has the KF bones that you can use for IK applications. If you want to rotate any bones, make sure you have the armature selected, then go into pose mode and choose the bone layer you want to work with. If you shift-click a layer, you can show more than one at a time. Then you can move things around however you like. All models currently get an eye controller bone, hand IKs along with elbow controllers, a center bone that lets you move all the bones at once, foot IKs along with knee controls, and also controls for upward heel rotation and toes. You can also make some adjustments if you need to. A really good example is if your character uses ABMX scaling. You can move the center bone to the correct position by selecting the center bone in edit mode, moving it upwards, setting the 3D cursor to the active bone position, and then setting the armature's origin to the 3D cursor position. This lets you reset the armature object position to 0 while also having your feet on the ground. If the bone that controls the eyes is broken for some reason, you can fix it by selecting the body object, selecting the vertexes that use the template eye material, putting them into a new vertex group, and then using this group in the eye UV warp modifiers on the body object. You don't need to do this if you're exporting the model because this is only meant for use inside of Blender. You can also quickly disable the hand IKs using the button in the Extras section of the KKBP panel. The FK controls for the hand and arms can be found on Layer 2 of the armature. And finally, if you want to revert back to the original Koikatsu armature structure and naming, you can use this button to switch between the two at any time. This is useful for when you want to rip animations from Koikatsu and apply them directly to your model. Just know that the original Koikatsu armature structure only supports FK posing. There's actually one more thing before I move on to the next section. Someone was kind enough to share some scripts that they wrote that actually converts the armature into being Rigify compatible. So by using these scripts, you can get really cool features like upgraded eye controls, IKs for hair, skirt, and fingers, and if you're planning on exporting the model, some software like Unity and Unreal Engine have add-ons that support Rigify armatures. I will warn you though, this is a one-way process and is not fully compatible with the rest of the tutorial. So if this is your first time doing this, then I would not recommend trying it out. So if that didn't scare you off and you still want the Rigify armature, just click the button in the Extras section. This converts the armature into a meta rig. You can then change any Rigify options you want, and when you're done, click the button again, and it will do the standard Generate Rig button, and then it'll also run another custom script after that that cleans up the generated rig. And that's it. Now you've got a Rigify armature. Koikatsu. If you want to use the shape keys for the model, select the body object and go to the Data tab. You can choose any shape key and set the value to whatever you want. If you want to scroll through the list, you can force a single shape key to be active with the pin on the bottom. You can stack shape keys by enabling more than one, you can combine shape keys with the face bones on layers 17 and 18 to get more flexible expressions, and even copy an existing shape key and then manually make edits to it to get closer to the look you're trying to go for. If you have an accessory that isn't following the bone, then you can just go into edit mode and assign the vertexes to the bone. In this case, the hat was supposed to follow the head bone, but it's not doing it for some reason, so I just assigned the hat vertices to the head vertex group. If it was a wrist accessory, I'd use the wrist vertex group, and if it was for the leg, I'd use the leg vertex group, and so on and so on. Well, that is it for mesh and armature related stuff. The next two videos will cover any shading related things you might want to change.